Welcome to another Explore Everyday video, and this one's going to be a little different, and you'll see why in a few moments. So this past weekend, I was home making my family breakfast on a Sunday morning, and I get a direct message on Twitter. Now, I don't normally get direct messages, and if I do, it's somebody that wants to make me rich or lower my interest rate, so of course I'm going to look at it. Well, it was actually from Amy Hockert, one of the lead anchors over at KMSP Fox 9 here in the Twin Cities, and she commented that she's seen my photography, seeing my YouTube channel, and let me know they have a streaming show throughout the week, and she would like to have me on as a guest to talk about my YouTube channel, my photography, the Aurora, all these nature things. And I thought that was pretty awesome. So over the course of a couple chats throughout the week, we finally lined it up, and on Thursday, we did the interview, and now I'm going to go ahead and play that now. I thought it was really neat to get some recognition from someone in the community here, so we had a lot of fun talking. I hope you enjoy the interview, and we'll see you in the next Explore Everyday video.
So you know you love doing something if you would do it even if no one was watching. Take a look at this.
I'm making stories by capturing what I see with my camera and then putting it in a YouTube video, in a story, in a film. I can go back and relive those moments. I captured the May 10th G5 Aurora storm with my daughter Emma. That's a memory I'll always have. Haley, my 6-year-old, she's starting to get more interested in being in my videos. So that's also another angle. So getting my kids involved, which gets them outside, which is another reason why I make videos that nobody watches.
So I saw this guy, Minnesota guy, on social media recently, and I thought, you know, super talented photographer, and he's doing these videos, and by doing them, he's teaching a lot of people how to capture just some of the most beautiful moments outdoors. So I thought we got to kind of share what he's doing here. So Scott McNally, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Amy.
We appreciate it. Great videos. Did Haley forgive you for forgetting how old she was?
I don't. She doesn't watch my video. She'd rather watch kids dancing that get 6 million views for 30 seconds of work.
So good. All right, let's back up a little bit, Scott. So tell us what you do and why.
Yeah, so I have a real job. I work for 3M. So in my free time, which isn't much, I love photography. And kind of my thing is finding the ordinary here in the Twin Cities and trying to make a picture that's extraordinary. And to do that, I mean, there's nothing too dramatic here in the Twin Cities, so it all comes down to the conditions, the light. So I like to do aurora and sunsets and sunrises and storms and the night sky, like the Milky Way. So trying to find creative things here right in the Twin Cities and, you know, maybe an hour away is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so I want to go through a couple of things with you. You sent us some great photos and videos, and I love the teaching element here. So can you talk about this? When you talk about it, doesn't have to be anything fancy. What are we seeing with the tree shots here?
Yeah, so these trees, it's a grouping of trees at a local nature park that's like 15 minutes from my house. And this is kind of just goes to show that you can make an interesting image just close to home with just a group of trees. And a lot of it comes down to the different light that you can see. So this is what you call the belt of Venus that you have right now. That's Earth's shadow, that blue beam going, that blue ridge going across. Here's obviously the Milky Way. And this is pretty impressive. This was last summer. And light pollution is a big issue with night sky. And here I'm in Woodbury, that was out in Afton. You know, we have pretty significant light pollution from St. Paul, so that was a pretty impressive shot. But just kind of going through here's, you know, a stormy look with these same trees. So, you know, I have what I call Explore Every Day, and that kind of comes from actually a children's book that I wrote back in 2015. That's not really for sale anymore, but I have a children's book. And where Explore Every Day comes from is when I would autograph it or sign it for a kid, I would write Explore Every Day and then, you know, write their name. And the idea is just get out and explore. You know, as this book was written for like a young child, maybe you're exploring your backyard. And as you get older, you get a bike, now you're exploring your neighborhood, you're going out to a local patch of woods or catching tadpoles in a pond. You know, all things I used to do, and now I want to kind of show that's what my kids can do. And, you know, one cool thing about my book is like all the animals in it are from Minnesota.
Oh, cool.
So it's something you can see here. And kind of with my photography, everything I shoot for the most part is here in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. So I think you can make really dramatic photos just in your neighborhood.
Yeah. And how have you gotten your kids interested? Because, you know, if you have kids, and it depends on the age, obviously, but are there things you do to kind of get them excited about, I mean, photos are so accessible nowadays. You know, when you and I were growing up, we had to go to the drugstore and get things printed out and whatever. Is it kind of lost on them because it's so accessible? How do you get them excited about it?
Yeah, I mean, when I came up in photography, it was film photography, and I told you I even have a journalism background, so my first journalism job, I was the sports photographer also. That was on film.
Wow.
Like, I can't even believe today that I was shooting on film.
Yeah.
You know, if you mess that up, like, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
But no, now kids, it's, you know, instant gratification. You know, my oldest daughter, Emma, she just got her first cell phone. You know, she's at that age, so we're going on vacation next week for spring break, and her comment was, "This is my first trip with a phone and a camera." So she's super excited about that. And Haley, my 8-year-old, has gone through a number of, you know, little kid getting older cameras. So they're both into it. They're maybe not into storm chasing, and staying up for the Aurora overnight's kind of tough at their age.
Yeah.
But they definitely, you know, see me doing it, and they get it. They like it.
So on the spectrum of, you know, simple tree in the backyard all the way to, you know, chasing storms, can you give us like a tip for sort of, you know, a beginner who just wants to do something very simple, to maybe, you know, best tip for chasing auroras, to, you know, even something like this kind of storm chasing?
I would say refine your skills in your backyard. Like, my neighbors probably think I'm crazy. I always have a tripod going, you know, shooting something. We just had the lunar eclipse last week. I didn't get a very good shot of that because I couldn't waste a whole night doing that. I was busy the next day. But refine your skill in your backyard if you have to. You know, practice doing, I shoot a lot of time lapses. You know, practice just shooting time lapses in your backyard. Practice composition. Practice lining up trees. Wait for sunrise. Wait for sunset. You know, if I can't go out storm chasing, I will storm chase in my backyard if I have to with my drone.
So lighting, super important. You know, obviously a lot of people like you don't have time to like watch the forecast and say, oh, well, this is going to happen over here. But lighting, super. How about equipment? What are you using? Is there something that you recommend? First, can I just say this? How do you get a picture of the moon? I've always wanted to ask a professional photographer. How? Because it never turns out.
So moon photography is really hard, actually, because the moon is so overexposed compared to the night sky. So I try to shoot the full moon every single month, and I try to make a video about that. But I always want to shoot it the day before, because the moon will rise during twilight yet, or even before sunset. And to me, a picture with the full moon with the landscape still in the image is much more compelling than just a black picture with the moon in the middle of it.
You're right. Yeah.
So my tip for moon photography is try to do it the day before, and try to find something. You know, we're in Minnesota, it's flat. I'd shoot like with a lot of water towers, or find a tree or a barn silo. We don't have a lot of stuff that sticks up off the ground, so you've got to get creative. How
about auroras? We're looking at a lot of your aurora photos right now. These are, you know, they can be tricky. You can narrow it down a little bit, but never quite get it exactly, you know, the timing right. So what do you do?
Yeah, so I mean, 2024 was probably, there was more aurora photographed in 2024 than probably the history of the world. It was an amazing year for aurora. I think I made 8 different videos just on the aurora alone. And there are all kinds of apps out there, and if you find the right people on, you know, Twitter, X to follow, they basically tell you, hey, tonight be on the lookout, and then your apps will tell you when it's probably going to be out. And a lot of it, you just got to go. And I've never regretted a night just going out. I think I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty confident I'm going to see something if I go out now. But the aurora is 100% unpredictable. Everything can look perfect and it doesn't happen. So just going out, I mean, maybe you're going to hear coyotes howl. Maybe you're going to take a picture of the Orion constellation. Maybe you're going to see something different. You know, one night I was going out and I had 2 gigantic bucks run up the road right in front of me that I videoed. You're never going to regret going out with a camera.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really cool that you're, you know, passionate about this. It's something you just love doing. Obviously, everybody's so busy in life, but you're finding little pockets of time to do this, and then to make these videos too and share them. So where can people kind of find your stuff and get some of these tips?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it now. I still call it Twitter. Scott McNally. On YouTube, that's really where I spend a lot of my time
Yeah.
now. You know, I'll spend between going out and shooting the video and then editing, you know, 5 to 12 hours for a video like 3 people watch. But I have that memory. Now it's like a living
Yeah.
photo. If
Yeah.
you search on YouTube for Scott McNally, I think there's 2 of us. One's a bodybuilder. It's clearly not me. And the other one is me. So pretty easy to find on YouTube.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, your videos are great, and I think what sort of caught my eye is that you're not like trying too hard, and I mean that in like the best complimentary way, because you know, a lot of people they just, it feels like they're really trying hard, and you're just like a normal dude from Minnesota who's just going out with a camera, and you're just like, I don't care if anybody's watching this. This is for me. This is for, you know, my kids, and
Right.
but yet I still, as I was watching, I was learning a lot from you as I was watching.
That's by design, Amy.
Yeah.
So when I wrote my book, it's, you know, we talk about the sun setting in the west, the moon rising in the east. That's teaching, right? Without teaching, you're teaching, you know, kindergartners which way the moon rises and which way the sun sets. And my YouTube videos, you know, my thought, they're more like little mini films, more cinematic, right? Like, my thought is you grab a cup of coffee on a Sunday morning and sit down, because, you know, some of them are almost half an hour. And there's moments of instruction throughout it, but it's not a how-to. I'd probably be more successful on YouTube if they were how-to, or if I did what's in my bag and gear reviews. That doesn't interest me. So I just go out and try to give little bits of advice and, you know, what I'm doing throughout it. But to me, it's more of a little mini movie. Like, just go out and see what you. I mean, a lot of mine are shot within 10 minutes of my house. You know, so
cool.
If you can make a cool picture 10 minutes from your home, like if I'm in Woodbury, you know, if you're in Minnetonka, if you're in Plymouth, if you're in Farmington, I mean, you can go find cool pictures close to your house.
I love it. So Scott McNally Creative, is that the website?
That's my website.
Okay, perfect. And then Scott McNally, not the bodybuilder, but the really talented photographer. Thank you for joining us today. It's been really cool to chat with you, and I have enjoyed kind of just living vicariously through your experiences, finding so much joy outside, even in your backyard. So
thanks so much for reaching out, Amy.
Absolutely. All right, take care, Scott.